Welcome back to our Rose Whisper Sew Along. We're climbing high today with Jacob's ladder. And you can see how he's got that ladder going right down through there. And if you put blocks together, 4 blocks together, this piece creates a star right in the middle. I'll show you after we get our block constructed. It's a lot of fun. So this is what it looks like close up. There's that chain going down. These are all 3.5-inch squares. These are 3.5-inch squares, but you're going to learn a new technique today, learning how to make half square triangles, and that's what creates that star when you're all finished. These are the background squares. They are 6 of them. They're 3.5 inches square. Now, the half square triangles come from rectangles that are 4 by 6. There are background, and this is plumb fence. You put right sides together. And then you need to have more 3.5-inch squares. These are the corners of the star. So let's just take a look at that chain. It's easy to do because it's really just 2 4 patches. So if you lay out your 4 patch like this, singly, and then just flip them right sides together, you can just sew right down along their assembly line. Sew, and then take them, open them up, flip them right sides together. And this is the time whenever we do that swirling. So just push the top seam up and the underneath seam down so you lock them together. Lock them together, sew across there. Whenever you take your stitches out for your center, you have this little 4 patch right in the very center. The seams just swirl right around the center. Very, very flat. You just kind of take your finger and flatten. I just like to have my back look as nice as the front, and it really does. See how well it matches right in there. Okay, so now let's just switch to the half square triangles. We've got our rectangles right sides together, the 4 by 8, the 2 pieces. See, you can actually see what it's going to look like whenever it's done. So start with you can use your double square up ruler, that would be fine. You want to measure over to 4 inches and draw a line right down through the center. Now you need to have diagonal lines going up, so if you just turn your ruler like this, take it clear up to the center, match the edges of the ruler with the corners, and just draw a diagonal line up and down. And then once you have it marked, you can just sew 1/4 inch away, going up, and then swing around, down, and back up again and down, so that the distance in between is a 1/2 inch. Let's say, whoa, looking good, perfect 1/2 inch. Okay, so just exactly the same way that you marked it, why don't you just keep it nice and still underneath. So we're going to get 4 half square triangles. Why not move it along, get it done quickly. Okay, now just take this, turn it, and go up. Okay, as I told you before, we like to make everything oversized and then square it up to be the perfect size. So now is our opportunity. We want these to be 3.5 inches. They're just a little bit larger now. If I could show you. I have a piece of tape on my underside of my ruler right at 3.5 inches, 3.5 inches. And it's just going to hold on there as a marking point. This dash line goes on the stitching lines. That's what's really important. It goes at the stitching line, not at the outside edge. There is not much extra there. Wow. So I'm just going to trim that little excess up and over. It's not much, really, really tight. And then I like to just trim my corners by turning it around. Start at the stitching and then head out. So that whenever I turn it, you don't see the seam. Okay, now let's see. Turn it over to the dark side, open, and then just press it. I would go to the iron, but I don't have an iron on my table. But just use your nail. Use a wooden iron, that would be great. Supposed to be 3.5 inches. Let's look and see. See how we did. I'm just going to take my ruler, line up. Ooh, good, perfect. So now you can see it's 3.5 inches. Good. So you need to have 4 of these. These are all going to be trimmed up to 3.5 inches. We've got our 4 patch. This should be 3.5 inches here, but the finished patch is 6.5. So let's see the back side. 2 half square triangles, 1 solid square. Lay them out, flip them right sides together. Let me see if I have 2. I'm going to just see what I have. 1, 2. How about a background? Like that. And then the fence, like so. Perfect. So you do flip them right sides together, zip right down, same thing we've done. Open them up, back across the other way, and I'm going to turn that piece over and show you. Here we go. Swirled in the center again, exactly as we did on the 4 patch. And so whenever we lay them out, let's see if we can just turn this right. Gonna turn this in. Got this laying out here. Let's take this one, and if you made multiple blocks, you see that our ladder could frame a star. That would be a whole different idea. Imagine that on the other half. Or else you can just turn you want to continue your ladder right up along and make your patches like that. It makes a great block. Have fun. Welcome back to Rose Whispers Sew Along. We have such a fun block for you today. It's called Cups and Saucers. Now you're going to have to squint at this. Take a look. You must see the cup and the saucer. Somebody had to show me. Okay, this is the cup right here. There's 4 cups around it. There's the cup, and that is the saucer. Well, of course. And then there's a big, beautiful, fussy cut right in the center, and it actually looks like it's made square and square, but it's 4 geese, 4 sets of geese around the outside edge. So there's lots for you to learn on this one. Some new things. So we've been doing 3.5 inch half square triangles. This time we're doing 4.5 inch half square triangles, and our geese are a different size too. They're finished size at 2 by 4. So you've got some different things to learn. So right here, the half square triangles come from 2 rectangles that are 5 by 10, 5 by 10. Put the 2 different colors together, 2 different fabrics. Square at 5 and do the diagonal lines and sew a 1/4 inch seam on both sides. Now we've been using the double square up ruler, and you can actually move your tape. It's a lot easier if you use tape, so you get every piece one. You want to put your tape so that the top edge is right at 4.5 inches, and this yellow tape is really good. That's something new that Orion gave me, and I love it. So I'm just going to show you, just in case you have forgotten, that you just start out and cut it right down through the middle, and then turn and cut on the diagonal line. So whenever you have your 4.5 inch line marked, you're going to place that 4.5 inch line right on the stitching, not on the outside edge, on the stitching. And if you want, you can slide it. If one side is straight, you're going to square this up. Just why don't you slide it so that's the already trimmed edge. All of our pieces are always slightly oversized, so you can trim them up to the perfect size. And then usually I just turn my pieces and cut on the diagonal. Okay, now this is like squaring up a closed triangle, so half square triangle. Perfect. And what I recommend the first time you do this is go ahead and take your ruler and just check it. Lay 4.5 inches and make sure you're squaring it up right. Perfect. Gosh, I hate to show you when it's good. But did you ever notice I cover it up whenever it's not right? Okay, so now that was the close. Now let's just open this like this. Just take the dark, press. Okay, you've got these little corners on the outside edge still. And this time, just go ahead, put the line on the center seam. Wow, there is hardly anything to trim off. Oh my gosh. Okay, we'll just go across, down, just got slivers. Okay, and that's one side. So now turn it around the second time. Put your stitch, the little dash line right along. I can't believe this. This is almost nothing to trim. And that's your second method for doing that. Okay, that's the half square triangles. So now let's look at this one, the flying geese that are 2 by 4. And so remember, I just showed you, if you want finished size 2 by 4, start with the largest number of 4 and add 1.5 inches to it. So the small square is 5.5. Add another 1.5 inches, and the large square is 7. So it's just different measurements and different, again, you know that we have a couple of ways you can do 2 by 4. I personally like to use this one. This is our 4 by 8 ruler, and you just use one end of it to cut the 2 by 4 geese. And I like it better because you don't have to, when you have this little geese right here, you don't have to squeeze your fingers all together. You can just use this whole ruler to hold it firm and cut around. So you've got another ruler that you can do, and more rulers. We've got a fussy cut right in the center. It's 4.5 inches. It's adorable. And so I just wanted to show you a nice piece of fabric with just beautiful pieces all over it that you can definitely fussy cut. Let's get this moved around. Okay, most popular sizes are the 3 that I have here, and I'm going to start with the 6.5 inch fussy cut, so you can see what we're talking about when you talk about fussy cut. You've got the 1/4 inch lines drawn all around. You've got an X through the middle, so you want to put that X on the very center of your motif. And then do you see right here? It's got additional marks halfway on each side. So this one, the 6.5 inch, you could just take to this large scale, just drop it and put the X right in the middle. Looking good. I like that. And then just cut around on all sides. Well, don't waste the fabric. It's too beautiful. This one is your 4.5 inch fussy cut. 4.5. Let me see. What could I fussy cut? How about this one? There might be something better, but I do have just a little one. Look at this one. you can just do the smallest one. This one is only 3.5 inch, and this an adorable piece right there. That's good. Okay, I'm going to look and see what Teresa did. This is what she cut. So let's just copy hers. Yeah, that's better. So out of one piece, then you don't have to just take one flower. See, you just figure out, move your different size rulers around until you just cut up your whole piece. So then when you put it together, let's just look at the back side of this. Lay out all of your pieces. Let me see. We've got this one right here in the middle. We've got the geese that are going to go around. 1, 2, 3, one more, 4, and then the beautiful turquoise. Ooh, look at that. That is so gorgeous. So it's actually a new way of creating the square in a square right there. One more. And we've got all the pieces. You're going to do this vertical row, and then across the other way. And look at the back, because this is easy to remember. Because the first time, whenever you sew down, then you press your seams in towards the middle, and then the second time, the seams go away from the middle. So they all lock together, and everything will match. Welcome back to Rose Whispers Sew Along. But this is the block for today, and you are not going to believe the name of it. It is called Schoolgirls. Well, I can't see any schoolgirls in this, but I do see hens and chicks. But nonetheless, it's called Schoolgirls, and I'm going to show you how to do it. You know, it's almost like our last one, Jacob's Ladder, so you'll get it quickly and be able to proceed. This is what the block looks like. I love the fabrics in it. It's just so cool. But it looks like, this looks like it's a big triangle in there. Actually, it's a square and then 2 half square triangles in the same color attached. And what a nice straight line that makes. It's amazing. So there are 4 of the deep purple, and then there are 8 of the medium, the lighter color. And believe it or not, there is a second light color running right through here. If you look really close, you can see this little lavender piece. And this is really white, hard to see. So take a look. Here's our lavender. We need to have 4 of these. They are 3.5 inch squares. You're going to be doing half square triangles. You need to have 1 set of this one, and you need to have 2 sets of the medium and the background. They are 4 by 8. Each piece will make 4 half square triangles. And then you've just got 2 of this one to finish off those that triangle look. You only need to have 1 ruler for this. You can use the double square up ruler. Work perfect for you. So let's just move right over here to the half square triangles. I showed you the last time, but nothing like a review, huh? So this is 4 by 8. You find the middle by just putting your ruler, drawing a line at 4 inches, and then just turn this, and you do have a diagonal line. You just place it like this, kind of size up that diagonal line with the bottom of the rectangle. Draw 1 diagonal up and another down, and that's the marking for your half square triangles. And then let's pick this up. Teresa already sewed this for me. Am I lucky? Don't you wish you had a Teresa? So you do a 1/4 inch seam from the line, going up and down, and then just turn around, whoop, another 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch distance in between. Remember that? So you should be keeping up with us. It's a lot easier if you do it right after you watch how to do the block, and then you won't make any mistakes. Okay, so that kind of separated a little bit. It's best if you can keep it nice and tight together. And then second one, up and down, and that makes the 4 blocks, the 4 half square triangles. Now these are oversized, and so we always square up, make them smaller. People really like that. It's hard to make them perfect. So if you make them a little bit bigger and then just trim them back with a ruler, it's great. Okay, so I put tape right along the dashed 3.5 inch line, and that dashed line goes on top of the stitching line. People tend to go like this. They line it up with the outside edge. That is incorrect. So just go ahead and move it up like this. If you want to, you can go ahead and slip so you only trim one side. This side it was straight, so it worked really well. And then once you get it trimmed, just trim off those corners. We usually press to the dark side, set the seam so that if there's any tension in the stitches, set the seam first. Then I just open, press toward the dark. You might want to try something different. I know that people do the rulers a couple different ways. Let's just press it open first. I square mine before I open it. If you want to press it open, then take your ruler, let me turn it like this, and you can just line up 3.5. Wow, it looks already like 3.5. 3.5, open, and then just trim around it open, and that works good too. Just turn it around another time and trim. Either way, people like to do it a number of ways. Do the one that you favor. And that's it. Basically, that's all we need for this whole quilt for the block. Now, I want you to take a look over here. There are 4 units. 2 are just alike. And the interesting thing is their quarters are all sewn in groups of 4 and swirled right in the middle. So they all lock together and they lay flat. So all you're going to do, whoops, let's just lay that out. Start out with the triangle, the square, the 3.5 inch, square, the 3.5 inch, pieced triangles, and then this is the last one. The switch is right in there. You just do vertical lines, horizontal lines, swirl in the middle. And then the same thing with this one. It's exactly the same as we've been doing. You've got the 2 mediums pointing in. You need to have this light lavender 3.5 inch square that's going to go right in here. Vertical, horizontal, swirl those seams and put it together. What do you think? Ought to be able to do that one in a jiffy.